The latest. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Now listen to this carefully. His name. His phone was talking, not metaphorical. Literally. Contacts, messages, plans, names, networks. The moment Paul Henry Damiba touched down in Ouagadougou, the silence ended. A phone that had traveled across borders through Exile, through secrecy, suddenly became loud. Every call, every message, every saved contact began to tell a story many people hoped would never be heard. And that's when it became clear. This was not just about an extradition. This was about unfinished business. Because phones we know don't talk unless something is there to say. To understand why this moment matters, you have to rewind the story, but not too far. Before Exile, before Togo, before the protests and the noise, there was a rupture inside the army. In January 2022, Burkina Faso was collapsing under insecurity. Attacks were spreading, soldiers were dying, morale was broken, and a group of officers decided that the civilian government of Marc Christian Kabore had failed. They moved, they struck, and they overthrew him. At the center of that move was Paul Henry Damiba. He was the most senior, the most experienced, the one his colleagues pushed forward, not because they loved power, but because they believed he could stabilize the country, reorganize the army, and confront the insecurity head on. That was the deal, a mission, a commitment. But something changed. Months passed. And instead of decisive action, hesitation gripped in. Instead of breaking with the past, Damiba began drifting towards it. Old alliances, old networks, yesterday enemies, suddenly looking like today's partners. Inside the army, frustration grew, confidence evaporated. And among those watching closely was a young officer named Captain Ibrahim Traore. For Traore and others, this was no longer just disappointment. It felt like betrayal. The revolution they believed was being diluted from within, so they acted.
The facts of attempted destabilization. What are the initial reactions to Damiba'S arrival in Ouagadougou? His phone is said to have already started talking. Yes.
The phone speaks. The phone speaks by itself, and it leaves me a bit puzzled. It spoke.
Why do you want to stage a coup? What is wrong in the country? Oh no, I don't know if something is wrong. I want power, because when I see my brother in power, it annoys me and I want power. No matter if people die, it's not my problem. I want power. I will take all the machines that Traore bought, sell them, and organize elections. That means he wants to issue the decree of appointment from the Elysee. So I organize my election, my appointment to the Elysee.
And he insists on the friendship with France.
He insists on it. That's what he himself says. But the phone, only God knows what you can find in a phone. So the phone speaks for itself. It speaks. His accomplices who had involved him in the matter had already spoken before we took him. There is this little complete duo of Alhaji Sakande. I really regret using this word against him because Alhaji Sakande, you see him, he looks very respectable. He's the kind of guy you would greet even on your knees. He says, no, he is not involved, that he just passed on the money. We see that now. He was the one scouting the houses of Ibrahim Traore's house. You see, all of that, the evidence that has already come out, is enough to convict someone. But since Burkina is committed to fair justice, to transparent justice, we will try him. We are not in a country where people are forcibly removed from planes. They are thrown in prison forever. No, Burkina is a country of justice. Do you understand? So if it had been another country, they take him by plane, put him in Nof, lock it up, and don't talk about a trial. Nothing. The phone said we didn't say what. We don't like him. He is bad. Come on, we locked him up. It's already happened. Do you remember the poor Ivorian, Lida Kwasi, and former defense minister of Laurent Gbagbo? He was a refugee in Togo. He wasn't even the only one. Only God knows how many former dignitaries of Gbagbo were refugees in Togo. But people had a simple reasoning. Since he was the minister of defense, he can only be plotting. Come on, give him to us. There was no evidence against Lida Kwasi, but Togo handed him over because Togo does not want to alienate all of Côte d'Ivoire. We bring him, we will judge him. But here, and the crimes of Damiba'S refugees in Lomé are immense because of all the killings. When you take Debo, his name came up, Barca logo. If we look at all the other killings in Burkina, Damiba'S name always comes up and is supported by his communicators who are refugees where you know. So today, those communicators are the ones who stepped up to say no, he should not have been extradited. So Togo will let him go. He will trigger killings. What Damiba'S was doing was not just a simple coup d'etat. Damiba'S wanted to organize another Rwanda for us in West Africa, because if it were a simple coup d'etat, from the moment he is sure he can overcome the captain. Tell me why they position terrorist groups and their weapons scattered in all the villages. They position others on the borders. They bring in white mercenaries. Why was that? Because he knows that if he touches Traoré, the population will lynch him alive. So he brought everything needed to massacre this population, and he will sit as a president. How long will you sit as president? So Damiba'S wanted to trigger another Rwanda.
And Rwanda, what they don't tell you.
It is said that there were 1 million Tutsi and Hutu deaths. Unfortunately, it is often forgotten to mention that Hutus died in Rwanda, Tutsis and Hutus. But afterwards, Rwanda took advantage to enter Congo and kill at least 10 million people. No one talks about it. You need to read the books by Charles Warner. You will understand everything. So that's what Damiba'S wanted to prepare.
And what surprises me, the heads of state who are getting agitated there, they think their country would be safe.
I don't believe so, but the case that happened.
In September 2022, Damiba'S was overthrown not by civilians, not by foreign pressure, but by fellow soldiers who believed the original mission had been abandoned. Captain Ibrahim Traoré emerged as the new face of the transition, presenting himself not as a ruler hungry for power, but as a correction to a failed promise. Damiba'S fled. He went to Togo. He requested political asylum, and it was granted. Under international law, asylum comes with a clear obligation: restrain. You don't organize. You don't agitate. You don't destabilize the country you left behind. You lie low. You stay quiet. But according to Burkina authorities, quiet is not what followed. From Exile, Damiba'S allegedly stayed active. Network renamed alive. Contact stayed warm. Messages kept flowing, and Ouagadougou was watching all of it. Then came the shock. Togo extradited him. Legally and sadly, the outrage erupted. Protests, accusations, anger directed at Togo. Poor Henry Damiba'S. Everything is talking from head to toe. All the people he was in contact with. The phone has started mentioning names. Names we least expected to hear are the names that are loud. As much as he's trying to stop his phone from talking, the phone is active. The moment it entered into the soil of Ouagadougou. And now, people are panicking. People are hiding. People can barely sleep because the phone would just simply not stop talking, not stop bringing out messages, not stop bringing out conversations, not stop bringing out contacts, not stop bringing out links and networks. And this is where Africa is turning upside down. Because one thing we know is the oppressor always use these tactics and succeed. But this time round, the game they have always used and know how to play well failed them. This is the first time Africa is able to put these people at their rightful place. And Paul Henry Damiba, who believes so much in the power of these people, is finding himself at the wrong side of history. He wished he never did, because he never knew that no matter how much you learn how to fly without perching, the hunter will also make sure he learns how to shoot without missing. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall. And united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's decolonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world in Africa, West Africa, and in Burkina Faso.